guys, so I wanted to cover a little bit on preparing for your training sessions with your puppies today. So on this course, there are a few videos that will require you to do some training with your puppy. Before you start training your puppy, it's really important that you understand what a marker word is. A marker is what we use to mark a behaviour that we like from our puppies. So when our puppy does a behaviour that we wanted during training, we will mark this and then reinforce that behaviour. The reason that we use a marker is because we need to be able to bridge the gap between the behaviour that the puppy performed and then the reinforcement coming. Because, for example, if we're doing, say, loose lead walk training, our puppy's walking nicely next to us. If we just go to get a treat out of our pouch and try and treat them, they might not be looking at us. But we can mark that behaviour so we can say, good, and then reinforce our puppy for doing the behaviour we wanted. But it also makes it really clear to our puppies as well what we're looking for. So another example of this would be when we're teaching sit training. So we would lure our puppies into a sit, for example. The moment the bum hits the floor, we'd mark it with good, and then we'd reinforce our puppy. So a marker doesn't have to just be the word good, it can be whatever you prefer. The majority of the clients that I work with will either utilise the word good, yes, or they will use a clicker. And what I suggest you guys do is just go with whatever you guys prefer to use and just be really consistent with that on your training going forwards. So what I recommend you do is practice your marker word by teaching your puppy a really easy skill. So you can do this at the start of your sit training. So what I recommend you do is get your puppy and you're going to lure them with a treat into a sit position, as you can see on the video here. When their bum hits the floor, you're going to mark them good and then release the treat. Good. Okay. Good. So you will notice throughout the course that I utilise a marker during some of the training that we're doing. Sometimes I use good, yes, or a clicker. So again, just use what you're using with your puppy during that training. So as well as marker training, we also need to make sure we're just well prepared before we start any training sessions with our puppies. So the first thing you're going to need is a treat pouch. The reason we use a treat pouch is so we can just get our treats in there ready before training and we haven't got to try and hold them or squeeze them into a little pocket that we can't quite get the treats out easy enough. So it just really helps for your training to have a treat pouch. There are some recommendations of a treat pouch on your puppy checklist. What we also want to make sure we do is make sure our treats are cut up before training. There's no use to us if we've got a massive piece of chicken in our hand and we're trying to break it up during the training session. So make sure that you're prepared by having your treats all cut up and ready to go. And lastly, before you train your puppy, just ensure you've got everything that you need. So if you're doing equipment training, like your harness and lead work, then make sure you've got that ready, as well as your treats. If you're doing, for example, any trick training or bed training, make sure you've got that out in your training area before you start training your puppy. And this can be really useful in reducing frustration in our puppies too, because if we are faffing around, so say we've got the treats and put them in our pouch and we're still faffing around and setting up the training area, some puppies might get a bit frustrated with this. So it really helps just to make sure we get it all set up before, then we grab our treat pouch and start our training. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you're wanting more tips on all things puppy and how to train your puppy, then don't forget to subscribe because there's lots more videos coming out over the upcoming months.